Let's see how long it takes to load.
You talk to people in the street? Nobody does that anymore.
I have searched
And it's
for
too bad.
but I have found the answer. Wisdom lies in the machine god, friends. Join us. Come, pilgrims. Do not hesitate. Do not live in fear any longer. Faith in the machine god will bring you peace. My wife is good.
Welcome to Temple Rain. It's a cool, rainy evening here, at the end of the pine tree grove. The abbot is away this evening, and although I know him to be a man of boundless kindness, he is a stickler for tradition. However, it is a beautiful night, and I think if he were here, even he would insist that we relax and enjoy it. This place is so familiar to me. I could describe each thing in it with my eyes closed. I'll try to bring it to life as vividly to you as it lives for me in my mind's eye. Before we begin, I think it's nice to start with a little wind down. Tonight's wind down is a visualization. So, no matter what's been going on today, whether it's been a busy day or a calm one, this is an opportunity to put everything down. To let go of any inner chatter and find a place of rest in both the body and the mind. So first, get yourself comfortable in bed, just taking a moment to pause and be still. And when you're ready, taking a big, deep breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you breathe out, allowing the body to sink down into your bed, feeling the weight of the body, allowing thoughts to come and go. Now, imagining a steady flow of warm sunlight flowing down through the body. Dissolving any tension, any discomfort, as it begins to fill the body, starting with the toes, moving up through the feet and the legs, being filled with sunlight. The qualities of warmth, space, and ease. As it continues to travel up through the body, up past the waist, to the back and the stomach. It's as though it washes away any discomfort. It continues up through the chest and the back, into the shoulders, and down the arms, all the way down to the hands and fingers. A sense of relief in the body. And stillness in the mind. As it continues to travel up through the neck and the throat, into the head and the face, all the way to the very top of the body. Until there's nothing other than the sense of stillness remaining. And now, just gently bringing the attention back to the body. Along either side of the long path that leads from the temple gates to the temple doors are many small statues, each one about 12 inches high. It's said that they represent people who, sometimes quite suddenly, other times through months and years of meditation, attained enlightenment. You might notice something strange about these little statues. Each one has a little pink hat, almost like a beret. And some of them also have pink bibs. These statues are known as Jizol's, and they are considered the guardians of travelers and of children. The hats and bibs are offered to bring luck, and originally they are red, this being considered the luckiest color. Over time, in the sun and the rain, the hats and bibs fade to this rather fetching pink. I think there's something beneficent about them all. Lined up like this, under the dripping trees, each one memorializing a blessing or a prayer offered in the hope of good luck. A reminder of all those people who, at different times and under different circumstances, had that same enduring wish to be happy and prosperous, whatever their lives might bring. In the middle of the mossy courtyard, between the meditation hall and the monks' quarters, there is a small, carefully pruned tree. Its limbs are elegant, like the arms of a child, and its bark is silver. Each one of its branches culminates in a cluster of leaves, shaped something like an elongated cloud. The tree is very old and has been tended by more than one generation of monks. For me, it signifies patience, enduring, and growing very slowly under the hands of many keepers. Sometimes a blackbird comes to perch in its branches and sing. According to the older monks, this has always been the case, even beyond the lifespan of a single blackbird. So either this tree presents itself as an especially auspicious place to sing, if you happen to be a blackbird, or the blackbirds have their own tradition to come and sing to the silent monks of Temple Rain. Outside the meditation hall is a strange wooden object which hangs from a frame. It looks almost like a sign, since its surface is covered in characters, but it has a large roundish indentation in its center. And tied next to it, there is also a thick rope, knotted at the end. This is a kind of wooden gong called a. At the end of each day, it's beaten with the knotted end of the rope to signal another day done. It's a welcome sound because it marks an end to sitting and the beginning of the serving of tea. The characters on it could be translated into words of encouragement about the transience of everything we do and the seriousness of the matter at hand. And so, the indentation has been worn away over many years by the knotted end of the rope, a record of the practice of so many people who have sat in the zendo and the earnest effort they have invested in sitting and seeing and breathing. Beneath the long pine avenue that runs from the gate all the way up to the temple doors is a long gravel path. And on either side of it are many statues which represent former inhabitants of this place and lucky people who attained enlightenment. The ground all around this statuary is covered with a fine green moss. It is almost velvety in appearance, and it cloaks the ground in an even green carpet that is darker green in the shadows of the trees. The moss is immaculate. Not a fallen leaf is visible anywhere, which may seem surprising given the proximity of the grove's trees. But you would not think so if you had seen the monks this afternoon. equipped with rakes, dustpans, and brooms, carefully going over the ground, inch by inch, looking for stray leaves. Theirs is not the raking of other gardeners, which pulls up moss and leaves alike. No, the passage of their tools is gentle, almost caressing, gathering the dried, husk-like leaves into piles, or flicking one into a dustpan with a little flourish here and there. It is a job which requires careful attention, like so much of what the monks do. And they see no separation between what they do here and what they do when they sit in meditation. It is a practice like any other, a thing to be done with one's full attention. Our temple has the newer style of garden. And when I say newer, I mean introduced in the last 700 years or so, in which gravel is used in place of water. The rock garden by the temple door is contained within a marble plinth, somewhat like a raised koi pond, which is filled with the gray, evenly sized gravel that is traditionally used for these arrangements. In some temples, the gravel is elaborately raked, or even heaped into the shape of a mountain, often the characteristic flat-topped cone shape of Mount Fuji. There is nothing quite so showy at our temple. We do have 3 imposingly tall stones, which emerge from the surface of the gravel like trained dolphins, jumping in unison and caught in a freeze frame, their bodies half in and half out of the water. The stones themselves are rather glossy in the rain, angular, with patches of green lichen in the cracks, and irregularities which cover their surface. Perhaps they symbolize, or not quite symbolize, I mean echo, the islands and the bay beyond the garden wall. Or maybe they are like spots, clearly seen in an untroubled mind. Or perhaps they are simply stones, exemplary in their indifference to the changing seasons and the elements around us, and indeed to whatever you or I choose to see in them. There has been a temple here of one sort or another for 2,000 years or more. The perimeter wall that runs around the garden dates back at least that far. It was part of the town's defenses in the days of the temple's founders, and perhaps it would have been fortified. These days, it's not much more than a blunt ridge, about 20 feet high, covered in ivy and moss, that slopes gently down on this side, with the trees of the surrounding woodland peeking over the top of it. So it feels as though the temple and its garden exist at the bottom of a mossy basin. One of the loveliest things about this wall are the gates which have been set into it. Like many of the adjustments to the natural environment around the temple, these entrances must have been carved painstakingly with hand tools. Each gate is really a tunnel, about 2 or 3 meters long, with a metal grid set into it. And the ceiling and floor are curved like a hole made by a badger or a mole. This, and their covering of moss, makes them seem almost organic rather than man-made. How many hours of chipping away must have taken to create these outlets to the world? It's through these gates that supplies used to come. Bags of rice, root vegetables, pickles, and tea. And to this day, it is through these gates that the monks arrive, bringing supplies from the town. Although these days, they are as likely to have bought green tea, soft serve, or coffee from a vending machine, along with their supplies from the market. That large single-story building on the other side of the gravel courtyard is the chanting hall. It has a beautiful, gently bowed roof line, like the outline of a smile, the lips slightly turned up at the edges, and at each corner of the roof, pointed eaves which project out over the courtyard, rather like the brim of a hat. As the name suggests, this is where the monks go to chant, early in the morning and late at night, during festivals and celebrations. Inside, the floor is lined with tatami mats, the special rush matting that is smooth and cool against the soles of the feet, even on very hot days. If you came while we were in retreat, around this time, you might hear the sound of the wood block, carved in the shape of a beautiful fish that is beaten in time with the chant, and over it, the voices of the monk, nasal and rhythmic. It's not singing precisely, but there is a kind of beauty to it. And once you get into the cycle of life here,
Best
the
promotion on
various
stream
bells
board.
and chants that mark time become a comforting part of the structure of life. The wide plain of gravel outside the hall is presented somewhat in the way that lawns are used in European great houses. They produce a sense of space and stillness that is quite deliberate. Perhaps it's this that gives the building something of the aspect of a ship, riding on a perfectly still gravel sea. It's funny because gravel replaced ponds as a feature of temples. But there is no shortage of water here, as you can hear. Right now, the rain is running down the building's roof, collecting in the gutters, and pouring off the pointed corners of the eaves. To each of the eaves is attached a chain of upturned brass cups, which look like tiny inverted bells, and the water pools in each one before it runs over the edges and down into the next, and the next, and the next, and so on, all the way down the chain to the ground. Behind the main temple building is the meditation hall, or Zen-do, a large rectangular room without any ornamentation, apart from a plain altar at one end, containing a small statue. Here, the incense is lit at the beginning of a meditation. The room is paved with large square slabs in a honey-colored terracotta. It's around this floor that the monks walk in a circuit between their sessions of seated meditation, each one getting up from their cushion and standing ready for the wooden clapper that signals that it's time for the walking meditation to begin. In our tradition, we walk briskly, with our eyes fixed on the feet of the person just ahead of us, and our feet moving in time with theirs. But the room is still now, and the only sound is the patter of the rain on the roof. The meditation cushions are stacked in the corner of the room, and the gray temple cat is asleep on them. She is a lazy cat, and this is one of her favorite places to come and sleep. Even while we are sitting, she will stroll across the room, as light as a passing thought, untroubled by the rows of humans who sit mysteriously still, like statues, arranged in 2 rows, one on each side of the room.